Welcome to Spark Predictable Growth, the podcast where we uncover the strategies that power predictable and sustainable growth for your business. I'm this week's host, Jane Birch, and with me are Eric Birch and Stacy Jenkins.
Hi there.
Hello. We are your team with experience spanning 40 years in sales, marketing, and communications. We've seen what it takes to win in business, and we want to help you get there too. Today, we're addressing a mindset shift that every CEO and entrepreneur needs to make. And that is why marketing isn't just the job of your marketing team. It's your job too. Okay, so let me ask you this, and I'm speaking to the CEOs. Are you, as the CEO, deeply involved in your company's marketing strategy? In particular, the strategy. We know you're not going to be doing social media, and writing blogs necessarily. Maybe you are, but that's not really what we're talking about. We're not talking about the execution of your marketing. We're talking about being involved in strategy. Or have you delegated the strategy even to your team? If it's the latter, you might be leaving money on the table. So today we want to walk you through why your involvement, particularly in marketing strategy, isn't just important. It's critical to your company's growth, and we're going to talk about why that is. So Peter Drucker said, "The only job of a business is to create a customer through innovation and marketing." This is a quote from Peter Drucker. So marketing isn't just another cost center; it's actually the center. This is where we're coming from and how we see it. It's the center of your business, especially today. So Eric, what do you have to say about that? I mean, I know you've been working in much larger companies, and what have you seen in terms of, how the strategy is created and, who's involved in that?
Sure. And I've seen it a number of different ways. And a lot of times it's exactly like you suggested. The CEO in question has opted out or delegated almost all, if not most, if not all, of the responsibility around picking and implementing a marketing strategy. It depends on the size of the company, certainly. But that is something that happens a lot in this business. And then your marketers are left at a place where they don't necessarily gel with the vision or mission of the company because of that lack of involvement, if you will, with the CEO.
Yeah, I've seen that too. And just a thought that came to me is when that happens, the marketing team is really left in the position of really making it up. Like if they don't have a sense of, where the company needs to go, then what you see is a company that is employing a lot of tactics, marketing tactics. So let's talk for a second about the difference between marketing strategy and marketing tactics. So strategy is the overall direction. And so the why, the what, the who, that you are trying to, who your customers actually are and what they're interested in, what their pains and problems are. And that's gives you, informs the strategy and the tactics that you want to take to get to that goal. And so without that direction, your marketers, they're tasked with, the order to, get us more leads or, help us get leads that, we can actually sell. And so, but without any kind of targeted direction, you find your marketing teams like doing things that maybe are working even to cross purposes. And I just recently saw a company that was involved in that, spending a tremendous amount of money on marketing to try and fix the problem of decreasing leads and decreasing revenue. And the result was nothing. So things that we know work were not working because there wasn't the right strategy. They weren't employing the right tactics with the strategy.
I think it's important that I guess it is understood that there's a difference between involvement, giving direction, or being involved in this creation of strategy, and just signing off on the cost. of marketing cost, or some like looking just for buy-in. Well, buy-in can happen without real conversation, without real connection, if the situation is right.
Right. And without the CEO being in, and when we say CEO being involved, we're talking at a very high level in developing the actual outcomes that need to happen for the business to grow, to achieve the goals they're looking to achieve. And the worst thing that can happen to a marketing team, or is to be charged with creating a certain outcome, only to have those outcomes changed midstream, right? I mean, there's a lot of wasted effort and wasted time. Marketing strategies take several months to be executed. So changing midstream is really it impacts the results that your marketing team can actually get. So when strategy is delegated, it's just kind of left to the team. The team doesn't have access to what the priorities of the business are necessarily without the CEO's involvement, at least at the beginning, just at the strategy. And then and then appointing a marketing leader who will execute that strategy. So having a marketing leader who can assist the CEO in determining what the marketing strategy needs to be to achieve those outcomes and to lead the team to accomplish them.
Looking at a medium-sized company, or I would almost say standard, that's probably not the word I'm looking for, but common structure of a business in clean tech, who in the company should be involved in the conversation, in the building of that strategic plan? What voices need to be involved?
Oh, that's such a good question, Eric. Thank you. So, I mean, we've already talked about the importance of the CEO. The marketing leader, the CMO, is leading this process. So it's not just the CMO and the CEO that are doing this. Also important to bring in any current marketing people who have experience doing marketing within the business, and sales. So one of the things that, because chief marketing officer kind of, I think the impression is, oh, you're just dealing with marketing. One of the things that we've been talking to companies about is it's a fallacy to market in a vacuum and not have any connection with sales. Marketing and finer points is to develop leads and turn prospects into closable leads, or sales ready leads is what I would call them. And marketers need to have the input or the conversation with sales as to, okay, in reality, what are they experiencing with the people that they're talking to? So there's traditionally been kind of a silos and a separation between marketing and sales, where sales gets to complain that marketing doesn't send us any good leads. These leads are always horrible, and marketing saying, well, we're sending you really good leads, but you're not really interacting with them appropriately, right? So if they treat a contact, somebody that has just, say, filled out a form and downloaded some piece of content as a sales ready lead, that's not going to go well, because someone who's just downloaded one or two pieces of content isn't necessarily ready for a sales conversation. And so in that way, the sales team thinks, oh, this isn't a good lead. It's not that it's not a good lead in most cases, it's because that lead hasn't been nurtured and not really ready to have that sales conversation. So that's part of marketing's job, is to help every lead be ready to talk to sales. And sales' job is to let marketing know what their experience is with those leads, so that we can adjust. So those are just a few things that we would do. This list of objections that we have here that we often hear from CEOs about being involved in marketing, or even having marketing, or even having the marketing conversation, I think would be helpful to have as a CEO, to kind of think through, how am I thinking about marketing? Do I see it as something that is important? Because we see certain mindsets with CEOs that are really getting in their way. So one one is just jumping out to me here is the marketing's too expensive, right? It's too much and what I come back with is, well, what does it mean to be too expensive, right? I mean, marketing, because it's and particularly doing everything that we just talked about, like developing a strategy and then having the resources to execute that strategy, is how you grow a business, right?
Right.
If you don't have a plan to do that, then you don't have a plan to succeed. You're planning to fail or something like that. It leaves you vulnerable. So, it's also kind of related to this other, they were saying, well, we're already growing and we're not doing any marketing. Oh my gosh, I've heard that so many times. And yet they're talking to me because they want to know, they're afraid that might not continue, right? So just because you're growing without doing some actual formal marketing doesn't mean that what it does mean is that you're vulnerable to any changes in the current conditions. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we know is, that's going to happen.
Oh yeah. Be controlled by the market. You control it.
Competitors come and go. And it's a correlate of this idea that, well, why should I market? Because, why should I do marketing? Because the market determines my success. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go back to the idea that marketing is expensive. Communications is equally as expensive, if that's the term you want to call it. But I think that there's this kind of either or mentality. Well, we're either going to do communications or we're going to do marketing. We can't afford to do both. Or we're going to put resources into developing our sales team, or we're going to do marketing. Like there's some sort of choice to be made, that if you get more salespeople on board and you do, develop your salespeople to sell better, that's actually going to, and do that alone, that's going to have the result that you're looking for. So back to that idea of marketing does its part of generating marketing communications, generates the visibility and generates the leads, right, for the sales team to sell. So it's really short-sighted to work just on one or the other, or just to have communications. Like, I think I'm just saying, I'm preaching to the choir, right? Saying what you said, Eric. but the whole process of deciding what is an appropriate budget for that comes from this idea of marketing is overhead, communications is overhead. It's not. There's less of an idea that the resources that I put into marketing communications can have a return on investment. So planning what you want to do in marketing should really be tied to what kind of result that you want, and look at the percentage, in terms of figuring out a budget. I mean, different industries have different benchmarks, if you will, for the percentage of revenue that is invested back into creating and growth, creating more sales. But one study that we refer to, well, I'll have to find the link and put it on our page, our podcast page, said that companies that are investing at least 5% are having success and are actually growing. Companies that invest less than 5%, not so much. But there are companies that are investing 10%, sometimes even 20%, right? Because they are invested in generating a significant increase, a significant growth. So there isn't just one, recommendation for what an appropriate budget is, but your marketing leader is there to help you to understand what it is where you want to go, what do you need to do to get there, and what is the appropriate budget to do those things. And it's a balancing act, right? To know, and of course, there are other constraints on the amount of money that you can spend, but that is typically how we approach creating a budget. So it's not that marketing is expensive, because that's a relative term.
Yes.
Right?
True.
But to recap, marketing is not just another business expense. It's not just part of your overhead. It's the bridge between the vision that you have and the world. It's the driving engine for your growth, and it's a reflection of your leadership. As a CEO, your involvement isn't optional, it's essential. If this episode resonated with you, take action. Schedule a meeting with our marketing team, dive into the strategy, and championing marketing as a critical part of your business growth. Thanks for listening to Spark Predictable Growth. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review, and share this episode with other CEOs and entrepreneurs in your network. Until next time, we are Marketing Monsoon, helping you spark predictable growth in your business.
So you've stepped into the marketing game. Great move, but here's the real question. Are you working with a plan, a strategy, or just chasing random tactics?
On the next episode of Spark Predictable Growth, we're breaking down the difference between a marketing plan and a strategy, and why relying on random tactics is like trying to build a house without a blueprint.
A strategy aligns every move you make to your big picture goals. Without it, even the best tactics can leave you spinning your wheels.
Don't let disjointed marketing efforts hold your business back. Join us to discover how to align your marketing plan with a winning strategy that drives the results your business needs.
Catch the next episode of Spark Predictable Growth, because it's time to turn your marketing into a powerhouse for predictable, sustainable growth.